Hi Leo, welcome to your May 2020 Tarot and Astrology. I hope you're all doing really well. This is an interesting month for you in terms of the astrology. We have the Sun in Taurus, we have the full moon in Scorpio, so there is a lot of fixed energy that is at times clashing a little bit with yours strength. And you need to be very patient with yourself. You need to be very patient with others. You need to be very patient with your family. Why do I say that? Because this full moon is occurring in your family and home section. So if you are quarantined with people, you're going to feel emotions start to bubble up in a way. It can be good, can be bad, it can be just depending on what energy has been brewing in your family home for a while. I think for a lot of you, you need to be very patient, and you would be better, especially if you're quarantined with an earth sign, a Virgo, Taurus or a Capricorn. Be very patient with them, because I think they need you. I think they need your advice. I think they need your optimism. I think they need your strength. Taurus season for you is a lot to do with career, and there as well you need to be patient. Things could feel quite topsy-turvy. Things could feel quite out of balance. You could be overrun with things to do, or you could be completely flatlined with things to do. We live in very uncertain times, so a lot of Leos are going to have very different situations. I'm sorry if you can't see. The sun actually keeps interfering with my light. As soon as I started doing your reading, the sun really came out, which makes sense because obviously you are ruled by the sun. So I hope you can see these, but we'll continue. So Taurus season for you is a lot to do with the way that the world views you, and I think you want to be seen more than you're being seen. A Leo in quarantine makes no sense. You need to be seen by your peers. You need to be seen by the world. And yet you also feel a little bit shy in terms of putting your best self forward, be it for a position of higher ranking, be it for a higher pay packet, whatever it is that you feel like you could do with a bit of a boost in confidence. Don't worry, because Mars will enter your 8th house, giving you a lot of courage against even the darkest of things, even the taxes, the death, and I'm not saying these are literal things that are going to happen, but this is what the 8th house is. All those things in the world that we perceive as occult, we perceive as taboo, we perceive as scary. When Mars is in that section, it gives you an element, I think, of fearlessness. It gives you an element of courage, something that you possess, obviously, but it gives you a higher dosage. And what I want to say about that, Leo, is that you can really help other people through with that. You can really help other people see their strengths and their weaknesses, and this is where you come through as a wonderful leader to the people around you. Now, in terms of romance, Venus goes retrograde in Gemini, which for you is actually your 11th house of wishes. It's also your 11th house of friendships. So when you feel, yes, the full moon in Scorpio, really, I think an earth sign needs you. You might be surprised at what they tell you or what they've been keeping, but I think an earth sign really, really needs you. They want to be closer to you. Venus retrograde in your 11th house will make you revisit your friendships, Hierophant. It will make you revisit your commitments, especially if you're dealing with a Taurus. If it's a Taurus, I think that they for sure may have kept something from you, but it might actually be quite a nice surprise. And if it's not, it is a new start. The full moon in Scorpio makes you reconsider. Makes you consider, because it will pull up family things, it makes you reconsider some deep wounds in your family or ancestral history. And this can go back decades. It doesn't have to be when you're born. There's interesting theories about women in particular, because your cells are known to carry memory. Your tissue carries memory, it carries emotions. And through the process of conception and birth, the mother, through her cells, can actually pass down trauma. For a lot of you in your family, you could be surprised to learn some interesting things about your family history. You could learn that you had people in your family who died in battle or went to war. Or you could learn about, if a parent went through a very traumatic incident as a child, whatever, it seems to have been passed down to you. You're kind of, with this full moon in Scorpio, being given the gift, particularly due to its connection with Pisces. Neptune being in Pisces, its connection there. You're actually, Leo, likely in a position where you can heal some family trauma. It's also that you're likely in a position where you can heal from something in your life that felt very binding and very controlling. Could be financial. The Emperor, the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords suggests, Leo, a finality to a situation, be it financial or be it emotional. The end to a situation where you felt very powerless and you're very interested in getting your power back. It could have been where something ended that you didn't expect to end, but I think more so for a lot of you, it is that you're finally ready to be done with a particular way of living, a particular way of connecting, a particular way of going against your own authenticity, your own truth. I will try anything to get the light back onto this. It's a bit easier to see here. Financially speaking, Uranus is putting a lot of energy into your career. It wants you to be more self-sufficient. It wants you to be more independent. It wants you to be more forward-thinking, freedom-thinking. It wants you to be more concentrated on the future. And it wants you to make decisions. It wants you to be less indecisive and not to settle. It wants you to get very clear about what is not working for you. For a lot of you that were unfortunate enough to lose jobs with the 10 of Pentacles and the 10 of Swords, it's really saying that you have a set of skills and power that you've not got to use yet. And that's whether you're still in a job or not. Particularly, I think a lot of you with the Uranus conjunction of the Sun in your career sector as well as Mercury. And now Mercury makes an opposition to the full moon as well. So your family and your career are at odds in some way. Especially if you're working from home, there could be fighting. But a lot of this is pointing, Leo, to a sense that you need to get very clear on what you want to get out of a career. The Two of Swords is so indecisive. It's so blinded by fear. It's so blinded by blockages. And all you have to do, Eight of Pentacles, is start working on something and enjoy working on it. Find joy in some kind of process that makes you feel like you're getting the best out of yourself. And if it comes to an air sign in your life, an Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, where you're feeling somewhat rejected, somewhat complacent, or somewhat isolated, if it's an air sign, I think a lot of you are either going to make it work and reunite, or you're going off the cliff in search of something that feels more like home. That's part of your extended, but it came out nonetheless. For those of you that have been If those of you, there's some of you that are worried about reconnecting with an air sign, a Libra, a Gemini, or Aquarius. You're worried about seeing them again, or you're worried about the distance. I actually think for a lot of you it's kind of a fresh start with that person. Venus retrograde in Gemini will be affecting the air signs particularly. If you are still pining for an air sign in your life, or they are still pining for you, I think there's likely to be a reconnection there that is kind of like starting all over again, fresh. Especially 5 of Wands, the Lovers, and the 2 of Cups, is there was a lot of conflict. And if you had your heart broken by a Virgo, I think you're finally getting past that. Finally getting somewhere. In matters of love, with Venus in retrograde, you will not be able to fight your feelings. You may as well get very comfortable with them. You may as well be very accepting of them. But your main focus, Leo, is your career. It is your passions. It is your social standing. You do not want to be in the shadows any longer. Much like these cards. Quite in the shadows. Nope. The sun will not let me show you. Good Lord. Okay. So we'll draw an oracle card before we get into the extended. Trust the niggle. What is that niggling feeling trying to tell you? Interesting. Your intuition is strong on something, or strong on someone. Again, to repeat, if you are with an air sign and you feel like the distance, and this, just so you know, this can all apply to sun, moon, and rising, so please don't take it too literally. This could be someone with a Libra moon. If you're dealing with someone where you fear that the distance and you fear that the time apart will not work, it will. I think a lot of you will be either reuniting physically or reuniting emotionally with an air sign. That's just the vibe that I'm getting. For a lot of you Leos, it's looking pretty good. It's looking like a lot of big shifting energies. I think for a lot of you, the Scorpio full moon and Venus retrograde is making you assess your dynamics in terms of commitment. I think it's making you assess your long patterns. For a lot of you that have wanted something more solid and you've had failure after failure at getting it, I think that you're finally seeing that it lies on the other side of a mental block. It lies on the other side of a tragic belief that you were in the wrong space, or you were not, it was not your time. Whatever it is, there is a new start with a feeling of familiarity, and that is enough to satisfy any fixed sign. I love you very much. I will see you in the extended. Bye, Leo.